AITA with this realtor? My stepfather passed 6 months ago, and my mother needed to move in with me. She lives in another town. Meanwhile, I made a career choice that put me in yet another town. We had been using a realtor trying to get her situated, and I was using a different one in the new town to find us a home that would work for both of us. We found something online, she showed it to me and wrote a contract, and it fell through. My mother was upset and wanted to use her realtor for the new home. I told my realtor about this, and she stopped working with me immediately and got upset, even though I had properties lined up to see. I am fully aware that whichever showed it to me got the commission. Now that realtor is messaging people and telling people in the new town we are moving to that I'm a bad person. It's taking everything in me to be quiet and let it slide. AITA for telling her my mother was upset to begin with? AITA for not forcing her to show me the new properties? One of which we are under contract for now. NTA. You can choose to go with another realtor at any point and for any reason. She shouldn't be messaging people and saying bad things about you. That's highly unprofessional and just an move. May have missed something as it was a bit hard to follow the situation. So let me get this straight. Hey Sue, I know you're doing a great job of showing me places I love and all, but while we are standing in this awesome kitchen I'm going to let you know. My mom, who has never met you, wants me to dump you for someone else. So yeah, I'm dumping you. And you don't expect her to tell others what happened. So they don't waste their time with you? I mean, had you said you guys weren't jiving and she was missing the mark, so you wanted to try a different realtor? Maybe your schedules didn't line up or something. I could believe those and say she's wrong for speaking about you. But she was totally hitting the mark. All that time spent with you was lost money. You wasted hours and hours and hours of her time. BC mommy, who isn't going to be on the mortgage most likely, wanted someone else. YTA. Try to see this from the realtor's point of view. She had been working and showing you properties. You don't say why the contract fell through, but your writing the contract shows she was finding property you liked. Then you told her you were thinking of using a different realtor, i.e., firing her. No wonder she stopped working for you. It is certainly your right to work with someone else, and she would do better for herself not to badmouth ex-clients, but I wonder how your conversation with her went when you told her about the other realtor. I think if you had intended to keep using the realtor you started with, then you shouldn't have told her your mom wanted to fire her. I wonder what your goal was for telling her that. AITA for working out in the mornings when my fiancé is trying to sleep? So I just finished another workout. I wake up at 5:30 and lift weights in the garage. But the garage is directly below the master bedroom where we sleep, and my deadlifts especially are pretty noisy. And the alarm also wakes my fiancé up, she says. She doesn't wake up until like 7, but she's been getting mad and annoyed the past few days, and says that I shouldn't lift weights this early. I have no other time to work out, because I'm always too tired when I get back from work. My fiancé bailed me out a few days ago too, which was mostly from the money from my savings, and she's acting like that was a huge favor. Anyone would bail a partner out of jail, especially when they're innocent. Anyway, AITA for setting my alarm this early and working out? YTA. Not for lifting weights but being inconsiderate and selfish. The only person who you seem to care about in that post is you. Get some mats and stop dropping your deadlifts. Interesting choice to throw in there the tidbit about her bailing you out. It's totally irrelevant to the working out and only serves to make you look worse. YTA for having your workouts so noisy. If, literally, the only time you can work out is 5:30 and the only place is the garage, then you need to figure out how to work out quieter. YTA. You have money for personal weights but not to buy mats or a rug to be quieter? You seem extremely inconsiderate of her. And no, not all people are bailing you out. If you were completely innocent, my guess is they would have let you out no bail. Thinking face, do better. YTA. The alarm is what it is. But, the making noise with weights is a shitty thing to do. You say you're too tired after work to lift. That's just an excuse. I used to hit the gym after 10 to 12-hour days of work. Knew guys who'd work 60 hours a week and never miss a day. Take a quick nap and a little pre-workout after work. Definitely helps. And her bailing you out was a favor. Even though it was your money, she still had to go through with it. You're acting like she owed that to you. Just show her a little more consideration. AITA because I'd rather my fiancé's dad be homeless than live with us? My fiancé 26 male and myself 26 female just had our baby 9 months ago. We are still adjusting to new parents' life and being newly engaged. My fiancé's father in the 7 years I've known him has always treated my fiancé as an ATM. Even though we are not financially stable enough to lend money, we somehow always end up assisting him. For some context, my future Phil works in timeshare and is hugely commissioned based, and he does not sell very well, so every check he gets is less than $20. He's been kicked out of the house and it foreclosed in 2020. The house he kept in terrible shape. I'm talking dog shit ingrained in the carpets, moldy smell, bathroom floors are slimy and smell of urine, just to name a few things. He constantly has fallouts with my fiancé, and at one point I had to get in between them to defuse a situation that almost turned physical. He is currently living in a motel because none of his 3 adult children wanted to take him in for all the reasons I've mentioned and then some. He has recently reached out to ask for money to pay his rent yet again. To which I told my fiancé absolutely not, because a couple months ago he stole my fiancé's card and tried to pay his rent with it after we already said no. So naturally I'm through helping him. He is on a week-to-week basis in his motel. His girlfriend paid his rent this week luckily, but I know we will encounter the same issue next week until he's homeless. When he becomes homeless, I do not want him to live here because I know he will never leave and I like my space. I don't feel like I should have to live with my 62-year-old Phil. However, none of his other children will let him live with them. I told my fiancé I don't care if he lives out of his van, but he did not like that very much, but I'm willing to give an ultimatum. It's me or him, so am I the asshole? I'm not sure who the conflict is with. If you and your fiancé are conflicted about this, I'll go with a clear NTA. But if it's you and your future Phil who are in conflict, I'd wonder why your fiancé isn't in the middle of that. I see. Should dad live here? Not as a you and dad question, but you and your roommate question. So if you're talking about it with dad, but not roommate, then that's a problem. This is a hill to die on, because if his dad lives with you, he will be a significant factor in your finances, time, and personal space. My wife and I are caretaking for my difficult mill while raising children. It is exhausting almost every day. They always fight and I always step in to stick up for my wife. But, now that our kids are old enough to notice our fights with her, that was the last straw for us. We've recently given her an ultimatum on her behavior. She's been a little nicer because she doesn't have enough money to live elsewhere, but her resentment will still be a gloomy cloud over our heads as long as she lives with us. Since you're engaged, you guys need to talk more about how you envision your relationship and lives together as a family, and if your fiancé is willing to let his dad disrupt these goals, then that is a major problem. NTA family dynamics can be complicated, and I can imagine this is a difficult situation for your other half, but your Phil is not taking responsibility for his own life. Since he is capable of working, he needs to find another job that has better pay than $20. That is not your responsibility. You are doing your best to provide for your family, and having this boundary in place by not having your Phil move in is protection for your family. NTA, your fiancé is being manipulated. He needs to grow up and decide what is more important. If you had told me Phil was an amazing man who you loved and respected but was down on his luck, I'd say you are the A. But that's not the case. You have a child to raise. Your first priority is your child. Every time your fiancé gives money to his dad, it takes away from your child. That's not okay. What happens if there is an emergency? Do you have $1K back if the car breaks down? Or if your roof needs replaced? What happens if one of you loses your job? Do you have savings to float you until you find a new job? What happens if the electric bill is double next month? Can you cover it? Now stop and think. In the past 18 months, entire pregnancy and baby's life, how much money has fiancé given Phil? Would that amount cover any of these expenses?